Hey everybody, it's Ed. Thanks for tuning back in. My last video I did mention about one of my jobs right now is that I am playing Dungeons and Dragons with kids. And when I said that, you might have had this look on your face. But believe it or not, I really am. Now, most of the kids that I'm gaming with are from the ages of about 7 to 15, and the full Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition rules were great for about 12 to 15, but I've been looking for something a little more simple for some of the younger kids. I've been using a simplified version that I found online, and it sort of fills my needs, but not 100%. I had heard about the D&D Essentials kit, and I thought that might actually be what I was looking for. So I found one at Gen Con a couple of weekends ago, and I picked it up, had a chance to look through it, so I'm going to let you see what's inside the box, and I'll let you know, do I think it's going to suit my purposes? Is it what I'm looking for? I am a big fan of D&D box sets. As a matter of fact, I started playing with this box set right here. This was the D&D basic rules. I think Tom Moldvay is the one that did these, but this is my introduction to Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, look at that. Is that cool or what? Awesome Errol Otis artwork right there. And like many people in my generation, this is how we learned to play Dungeons & Dragons. So let's see what we find inside here. Take the top off. And first thing we find are dice, which is something important you do need if you're going to play Dungeons & Dragons. And not just a normal set of the polyhedrals. That's the fancy term. Fancy. You have 4 6-sided dice. You're going to need that if you're going to create a character. And since 5th edition has the advantage and disadvantage rules, you get 2 20-sided dice. You could roll the same 20-sided dice twice and just remember, but you know, rolling more dice, always more fun. Little talk box. I know there's some cards in here, so this is a great way to pop the cards out and have a way to keep those from roaming around inside the box. The next thing we have is the adventure, Dragon of Ice Spire Peak, which actually is quite a nice adventure. Let me move that out of the way. This is really great if you are a brand new dungeon master. It lays the adventure out very well. Now, instead of this being one long adventure, it is actually several smaller adventures that are linked together, taking place in the Sword Coast, in the Forgotten Realms. Gives you an idea of the area you're going to start in, and the town, Fandalin. Tells you about the NPCs you're going to find, what kind of stores they might have. Nice little home base for your adventurers. This is something I really like. They have 3 starting quests. At the center of town, they do have a quest board, and they have information about quests that are available. And you have 3 different ones here you can choose from. And then, this is what's really cool, after you complete 2 of those, then 3 more show up. And then after you complete 2 of those, then we have 3 more showing up. If you are not familiar with putting together a campaign, this kind of guides you through how to make it seem like the campaign and the world is continuing even when the players aren't doing something. And it sort of gives the players a certain amount of agency and choice. Which adventure do they want to go on? Each of the adventures is very short. You probably do these in 1 or 2 sessions. You do have all of the creatures. You have all the creatures you're going to need right here in the back of the book. Really well put together, really well done, especially if you are a brand new dungeon master or if you're introducing new people to the Dungeons & Dragons rules. Then we have, we have initiative cards. When you get into combat, you do roll initiative, tells you when you go, what turn you're in, and this is a way everybody can remember. So you just pass those out, and you say, who's got number 1, who's got number 2? Such as that. One of the things they have in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons are conditions like, prone and poisoned, stunned, and conscious. So when that happens, it's a nice reference for the DM, but also, let's say one of your character gets knocked prone. We have them the prone card. They know exactly what that means. Also, you have small little combat cards. So combat, step by step. Determine surprise, establish positions, initiative, turns, begin the next round. And we have, some NPCs. These are actually sidekicks. There's a rule in this version of the D&D 5th edition rules, which are sidekicks. They're a little more advanced, a little more capable than commoners, but not full-fledged adventurers. You have their name, you have their personalities, ideals, bonds, and flaws, so you can role-play them well, and a lovely little picture of what they look like. And these are some of the sidekicks and some of the NPCs you will meet in the adventures. These are magic items you're going to find in the adventure. So when they find a potion of healing, you can just pass them that and they'll know exactly what that does, or a sending stone. These are the quests that are in the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak adventure. So you can just pass these out, put them out on the table, and they can read for themselves and decide which of those adventures they want to go on. Also, if they're like, what are we doing again? Where are we supposed to go? Who do we talk to? This will help be a reminder. Then we have the Essentials Kit rule book. It is an abbreviated version of the full Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition rules. Has the standard races of elf, dwarf, halfling and human. We have bards as classes, clerics, fighters, rogues, obviously, and wizards. So cover all the bases there. And each one has a couple of the different archetypes you can choose as they go up in levels. This is a DM screen. So a lot of times when you're playing Dungeons & Dragons, you'll be sitting behind a screen if you're the Dungeon Master, and you'll have your notes, you might have miniatures of things you're going to be fighting, you might have maps, you might want to make rolls that the players can't see. Then we have character sheets, always going to need character sheets, and a map. So again, this sort of details the area that the adventure is going to take place of the Sword Coast. Inside here, we do have a map of the town of Phandalin, where the adventurers will call their home. There you have it, D&D Essentials Kit. Is this going to be the kind of thing that suits my purposes? Well, yeah, actually I think it might. For some of the older kids that I have class with, I will probably use the rules right out of the box. For the younger kids, I will pretty much use it as is. I might change a couple of things. I'm not a fan of using the derivative stats for the younger kids, and I actually use a spell point system rather than spell slots. I think it's something that I'll be using, especially with my classes, teaching kids how to play Dungeons & Dragons. Is it something that you would use? Would you be interested in using this for some younger kids, introducing them into Dungeons & Dragons? Or do you know somebody who's younger, say around the 12 to 14-year-old age, who is interested in getting into Dungeons & Dragons but doesn't want to commit fully? If you have any other questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I think that's it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.